Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first session of National Apprenticeship Week 2020 that's being hosted in Greater Manchester. We are sorry for the issues that we're having over on Microsoft Teams Live, but we are glad that most of you are being able to move over into the session. Just to make you aware, this session is recorded, so please keep your cameras switched off. And I'm going to hand over to Rosie and George now, who are both apprentices at Astrazaneca, and they'll be talking a little bit about their apprenticeships that they're currently undergoing and their experiences and transition from school to their apprenticeship. George, over to you.
All right, good morning, guys. I hope you're all right. My name is George, and as Jane said, I am an apprentice at Astrazaneca on the Digital Technology Solutions Degree Apprentice course. I'm a first year apprentice, so I've been here for about 5 months now, which is really weird to say because it feels like I've been here for so little time. But yeah, looking forward to having a quick chat with you today about apprenticeships. I'll hand over to Rosie to introduce herself.
Hi, good morning. My name's Rosie Dandy and I'm a second year degree apprentice at Astrazaneca on the Digital and Technological Solutions course as well. So the same as George. I have just specialised this year. So I am now doing IT consultancy, which isn't your typical programming, sat in a room. It's a lot more. So I've been doing some work in supply chain as a project manager. And now I've come over to support early scientists as a business analysis. So there's lots of different opportunities to get involved in. And kind of one thing that I wanted to get out today was to break the mold. It's not just all male-dominated industry where everyone sat there coding in a dark room. Is a lot more interested, and they're the stereotypes that I had when I first started. So just think it's important to break them stereotypes. So I think we're just going to open up to questions now, conscious of time. We've only got 5 minutes left, so I think you all can post in the chat. So if you've got any questions for us, we're more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, these could be any questions about apprenticeships as well, not necessarily just IT apprenticeships. You know, if you want questions about applying for apprenticeships, how to find out what's available out there, or just anything about apprenticeships or future careers, just feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them for you.
And those questions are silly questions.
Exactly. While we wait,
we do have a couple of people typing, George and Rosie. So whilst they are doing that, I think a couple of questions from myself is, how did you find out about your apprenticeship? Where did you first see it? Was it advertised or?
Yeah, I mean, can I go first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I was looking at business degrees at first, so I wasn't actually considering an apprenticeship whatsoever. But it was on like a random website that I was just browsing through where I saw the DTS apprenticeship, not at AstraZeneca, but for a different employer. And after seeing that and doing some research into it, it just seemed like the most, valuable choice for me to do. So that's why I chose to do an apprenticeship, just completely out of luck, to be honest.
Similar to George, I did apply to uni as well, so you can apply for both because they are very hard to get into degree apprenticeships. I looked on the government website and also the MMU website, so Manchester Metropolitans. You can set alerts up, so when a vacancy does come out, you get a notification so you can apply. And I also did a workshop called Aspire, Apply, Achieve at MMU, and that really helped me with like interview tips and like CV writing, so that was really useful.
Amazing, thank you. And Rosie, just because you're still unmuted, I'll ask you first. How old were you when you started your apprenticeship, and what were you doing before you started it?
Yeah, so I went to Bolton School. I don't know if any of you know it, and I didn't do anything IT related at GCSE or A level. I did history, psychology, business, and then I also did an AS in chemistry, so nothing really related to what I'm doing now, and I've not struggled, so don't be put off if you've not got any A-level subjects that kind of align with the IT degree apprenticeship. And I went straight from school, so started at 18, but there is a lot of people that have took a gap year or two, or even some people that have kind of come in as a career change.
Same question to you, George. How old were you started and what were you doing before?
Yeah, so I started back in September 2020, so I was 18 at the time. I, like Rosie, came straight out of sixth form, so I took maths, business and history, pretty similar subjects, and then, like I said, not really any computer science related subjects. You know, I just have a general passion for technology, so that's why I sort of chose to do this. But yeah, like Rosie says, you don't need the computational skills. You just need a really good, you know, business mindset and, you know, a passion to learn, basically.
And that is the question that's just come through the chat, is what qualifications do you need to get an IT apprenticeship? So neither of you really have IT related qualifications before joining. And what was your experience of the application process? If you've both gone from school to a college setting and then applied for apprenticeships, you can almost compare the two. So you can compare what it's like to apply for a college and an apprenticeship as well. How were they similar? How were they dissimilar processes? George, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if people have ever done like a UCAS application. It's a little bit similar in that, but the way that you apply for an apprenticeship is obviously you do it through the employer's website, and each employer is different. But with AstraZeneca, what we had to do was submit our CV. So that's a bog standard CV. You have to answer a set of questions. These questions require like a paragraph response each. You've got to really make sure you nail them questions, because that's what's going to sort out, you know, who gets the interviews and who doesn't. And as far as I can remember, it's CV and questions. And sorry, you have to do what we call biometrics. So that's like a virtual online assessment sort of thing. It's not an assessment as such. It's more so a couple of interactive sort of games and activities, and that sort of judges your sort of personality and how you'd go about in a business environment. So it's a lot different than doing a UCAS application or a university or college, but it's rewarding if you can do it right.
And just to add to George, some top tips that I would say, bit of inside information, is look at the AstraZeneca values, or look at any company values when you're applying, because I can't speak for other companies, but they really do that kind of value the values almost. So if you kind of say like, I put patients first, I play to win, which is some of the AstraZeneca values, they'll kind of realise that you have done your research and you will fit in. And then another top tip is when you're answering the questions, you use the STAR model. So situation, task, action, result. And then another nice one, if you've got the word count, is maybe, so what have you learnt from that experience? And they're really nice ways to answer it.
That's really helpful. Thanks, Rosie. And then another one would be asking maybe on the behalf of young people that are leaving school this year or did do last year and are emerging into the labour market during the pandemic, would be, how has your job roles changed, or how has the pandemic affected your work at the minute? Rosie?
Yeah, I can go. I'll go first. I think we're quite lucky in a sense at AstraZeneca. We have been given laptops, been given work phones, headsets, monitors. So we have managed to kind of continue working from home, not being furloughed. So that was a great lucky as well. And yeah, to be honest, nothing has really changed. Just doing everything virtually. There's quite a lot of more catch-ups, just kind of social ones to keep everybody from exploding.
Yeah, definitely. I second what Rosie says there. I mean, I've only been here for 5 months, but I've managed to settle in quite well. You know, meet my team, make a good few friends, both at work and university. In terms of the uni side as well, that's all virtual still. You know, they accommodate for all the lectures online. As far as I'm aware, there hasn't been a lapse in quality from what I've found. But yeah, we're coping nicely. Let's put it that way.
And then another one, I'm sorry, I keep asking lots of questions, would be how do you feel you've developed as a person outside of like professionally in your qualifications since starting your apprenticeship? So confidence, communication, different skills that you feel have developed and grown within yourselves. George?
Yeah, I definitely feel more confident in day-to-day life. So, I mean, having spoken to, you know, numerous people outside of the business and inside that I haven't known before in a sort of professional context, it's really given me that sort of ability to, you know, open up and just say what I'm thinking, and just be willing to, you know, take steps that I wouldn't have been willing to before. And yeah, no, that it goes on into real life as well, because obviously, you know, not as much nowadays, but you speak to a lot of people on a daily basis, and it's nice to be able to communicate effectively and just be confident in general. But yeah, I also feel a lot more mature coming into this apprenticeship. You learn a lot in a small amount of time, and you need to have that mindset. Otherwise, you're going to find it difficult.
Rosie?
Yeah, so at AstraZeneca we do 8 month rotation. So every 8 months we get to pick what job role and department we do. And on reflection of my second one, I've got quite emotional actually, because I've developed so much. So before this rotation that I've just completed, I had never meeting, and then in this 8 months that I've been in this rotation, I've developed numerous end-to-end projects and delivered them, like automation projects, and it's actually freed up people's time, made people not need to work weekends, and delivered a real business benefit. So at AstraZeneca, you do real meaningful projects. You're not just there to make cups of tea, which I think some stereotypes are. And yeah, they do really push you to your limits. I think one of the mottos that they used were kind of like throw them in at the deep end and like push them, and they've got a safety net, and they can trust that it'll fall, because we have mentors, buddies, line managers, task managers. We're just so supported. So there's always someone you can ask a question to, and like deliver to your full potential, really.
When did you both start considering an apprenticeship as an option? At what point did you think that, okay, maybe I don't want to go to university, I want to do something else? George?
Yeah, so I remember vividly back in year 13, so this is going back to January of last year. We were doing UCAS applications, and I'd applied for business at a load of unis, and I found the apprenticeship on a whim. So I sort of saw it and I was like, well, hang on, this seems like it's everything that I want to do in a package. And then, you know, you're learning, you're working, you're earning, you know, everything's just sort of there. So then I thought, well, do I really want to do uni? And I actually, and I don't recommend you do this, but I actually didn't submit my UCAS application because I was so confident in doing this apprenticeship. Nice to have that fallback, definitely, if you don't get in. But I just sort of saw it and I thought, let's go for it, let's do it. Because yeah, it just made sense to me.
And what about
Yeah,
you?
so to add to that, I kind of, unlike George, covered all bases. I kind of applied for uni, applied to numerous degree apprenticeships, because they are very competitive and hard to get into. So I think I had a spreadsheet and applied for about 20, and it was very hard whilst studying for my A levels. But I can just tell you now, it is worth it. It definitely will pay off. You kind of get a boost in your career. You get the work experience. You're learning whilst you're earning, and it actually makes your studying a lot easier. You've got all experts in the field around you just to ask that question. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. And AstraZeneca will actually go on to pay for your masters. So I just almost think it's a no-brainer, and they weren't really like pushed at my school. I think I was the only one that did an apprenticeship, and everyone went off to uni or did a gap year. So I cannot like recommend them enough. I go to so many talks telling people there is so many other options out there other than just going to uni, which is kind of what was drilled into my head a little bit.
And then the last question from me, but if anyone does have questions before Rosie and George go, please do just pop them in the chat. And then the last question for me would be, because this will be published, we'll put it on GMAX, which is the Greater Manchester Apprenticeship and Careers Service website, and it'll go on Bridge GM's YouTube as well. So young people watching this back that might be in year 8, 9, 10, what would be a piece of advice from then for them now you've gone through this experience and you know what you know? What advice would you give to your younger self or younger people watching this? George?
Yeah, that's a good one, that. I'd definitely say do subjects further on in life that you genuinely do enjoy, because I was under the impression that, universities and apprenticeships, you really had to, home in on certain subjects further down the line. So like mathematics. So I took maths at A-level simply because, I thought it'd be, really important for a future career. Turns out not as much so as I thought it would be. So that was almost a slot of an A-level that I might have, preferred to do something else more enjoyable, perhaps. So definitely going down the line, going into your futures, do what you enjoy. Don't do just what you think will be good for you, because, you want to enjoy your youth years. You want to make sure that you're doing things that you're happy with. Just enjoy yourself. It'll work out, trust me.
I would say I'd just say the exact same as George. Do what you enjoy, because they are hard A-levels and they're a big step up from GCSEs, so you will be spending a lot of time studying them. I started off doing maths like George, and ended up kind of changing it almost with my mum's consent, but my dad wasn't too happy with it because it was deemed as like a non-academic subject, which I've always been quite academic, but it's not hindered me at any way, shape or form. And then all I can else say, if you want to kind of bump your CV up, do online courses. There's so many out there, they're free, you can literally just search them, just kind of to show that there is something more about you. I know it's quite hard during like lockdown and things, we don't know how long it'll go on for. Maybe you can't get a part-time job, or you can't do your hobbies as much as you'd like to, so it just shows you I've got something about you that I'm doing nothing.
That's amazing. Thank you both. I've really enjoyed this session. I've put 2 links in the chat. I've put a link for GMAX, the apprenticeships page, which has information about apprenticeships and all the active vacancies across Greater Manchester at different levels of apprenticeships. And I've also put the events page for National Apprenticeship Week, because we will have many more sessions throughout the week on apprenticeships at different levels for different ages and the opportunities across Greater Manchester. That's it from us. Sorry about the issues moving over this morning, but thanks for bearing with us, and hopefully you'll join us for other sessions throughout the week. Bye everyone.
Thank you guys. Take care.